Welcome to the Grow Your Law Firm podcast, brought to you by Pilma. This podcast helps lead lawyers to more growth, profit, and freedom. Here is your legal marketing expert and host, Ken Hardison.
Well, hello, everyone. This is Ken Hardison, and welcome to another episode of Grow Your Law Firm. And today we have the pleasure and honor of having Miss Courtney English, a trademark copyright lawyer up in St. Louis, Missouri. Thank you, Courtney, for being here today.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Yeah, and the reason I invited Courtney, you say, why would Ken ask for this type of lawyer to be on here? Because he does PI law, and that's all he's ever done, and contingency work. The reason is that all of you lawyers out there are spending gobs of money on marketing. And most of you, not all of you, but a lot of our Pilma members know to do this because I've been preaching it for the last 10 years. You're not copywriting things. You're not trademarking your names and things. And you're letting all this intellectual, this property be stolen by other people that you spent time and branding and whatever. So I really want to get into all that and ask the expert here, what are your rights? What can you do? What do you need to do? But first, Courtney, I want you to, I don't like to do bios. I like for you to just tell me your story. So tell me your journey from like high school to how you became a lawyer and what prompted you, and just tell me your whole story.
Yeah, sure. So I grew up in a really small town. There was 40 kids in my class, and we had bring your tractor to school day. So it was pretty rural farm town. So I never knew a lawyer, never met one. I went off to college, graduated really young at 21, then went right to law school. So my parents were business owners, and I just always knew I wanted to be in business, but I wanted to make money, and I could not figure out how to do both. So I thought law school would be a good opportunity. And when I got there, I just learned all kinds of cool things like most of us. And I realized that it could be a career for me where I could run my own show. So, and then of course, when I graduated, I decided I'm going to work at a corporation and do law for them because I don't want the stress of running a business because I've seen it my whole life. So I thought I'd start the safe way. And I learned a lot, but I, of course, ended up doing my own thing. So I worked on a lot of cool projects with blockchain, trademarks, copyrights. I learned a lot there. And I always thought it was just a mechanism available to like these big corporations. And then I got out on my own and I realized, oh no, everyone needs to be doing this. So it really just spawned kind of my area of business.
Yeah, I guess you were sitting there watching your parents work, 80-hour weeks probably, and having the stress of running a business. Because it's not for everybody, that's for sure.
No.
No.
And they did real estate. They flipped real estate back when the market was really hot. And I mean, I was in fourth grade tearing carpet out of rental houses until 9 o'clock at night. I mean, I knew how to I could paint a room, hang trim, all that fun stuff. But I saw that hard work and I was like, oh, there's got to be a better way to make money. But it's tough.
So let's just start about, a lot of our lawyers out there spend loads and loads of money. So what would be your advice to them of things that they need to trademark and copyright and why? And let's start with that.
Yeah, absolutely. So I always say first, you want to trademark your name. And this gets a common misconception. So what a trademark is to keep it high level. It's your business name or your slogan or your image that's associated with your business. So that's all it is. And people, they use them interchangeably, which is really common, but you want to be clear that you're trying to trademark your name. And the reason being is that once you trademark it, you file a registration, file an application with USPTO, and you have a registered trademark. You now have something really powerful to stop infringers. And if without that registration, it's extremely difficult to stop those things. So law firms can trademark their names. I think there was some kind of rumor that you couldn't. And then you've seen a flood of them come in recently of people trademarking their law firm name. So you can. And then if someone creates a copycat website or something like that with your name, you have a really great tool to stop them. So that's where I usually tell lawyers to first start, let's just protect that name, because a lot of times your services might change, your practice area, your website look and feel might change. That's okay. But once you have that name, let's protect that first so people know it's you. And then secondly, that's when we get into protecting that other IP, like with copyrights. And a lot of nowadays in the online world, people do a lot of downloads, ebooks, right? It's very common to drive leads. You can copyright all of that. which means no one else can copy it. So it's really valuable because you want people to know it's you instead of someone ripping off your site or buying up your name, buying domains with your name. That happens a lot too, and taking your traffic. So anything you can do to protect yourself up front will save you tons of money later, because fighting this stuff on the back end without those registrations is very costly and there's no guarantees on recovery.
Yeah, I learned the hard way. I've got probably 15 or 16 trademarks now. And one thing I used to do, we were talking about before we started today, I used to copyright. I just take my whole website, download it or whatever, get it printed out, send it to the copyright office and copyright it about every 6 months. I didn't do it every day, but when we were making changes about every 6 months, because we spent a load of money on people writing, content, and we would find our content. They make this software where you can run your content and see if it's duplicate, but it could be them duplicating yours. If you got the copyright on it, then they're duplicating yours. Or like you were talking about those books, I used to do a lot of reports and I would copyright those because lawyers would steal them. I get somebody from San Francisco out there using my book, and then they put the copyright on it like they copyright it, and they didn't. So, you got to be careful. So what happens though? First, I want to ask you that, is that a smart move to do that?
Yeah, so the cost of copyright is not high. So you really want to make that small investment to protect it. And your websites, because people can copy your landing pages, there's all kinds of creative things people can do to steal your traffic. So yeah, the more you can copyright and protect, the better.
Yeah. And we were talking about the trademark thing, and what we're seeing now, Courtney, is a lot of law firms are spending millions of dollars branding and on TV, billboards, and then you got the pay-per-click on Google where competitors are buying your name because people see your name and then they type it in, and then up comes an ad that's got, maybe it's George Sink law firm, and then all of a sudden you type in George Sink, and then all of a sudden Ken Hardison law came up there because I bought his name. I will tell you this, folks, always, even if you don't do PPC, get somebody to do PPC to buy your own name so you can outbid them for it. That's one thing I can tell you. It's got nothing to do with copyright or trademark. That's just smarts. So what, Courtney, because I heard there's a lot of litigation going on that. What's going on with that now about the PPC stuff?
So we've had success sending cease and desist letters when people would buy up another name as a keyword or ad or whatever. Basically, that letter is saying you have to stop. We own this trademark, and here's why you have to stop. Like, that's simplifying it, but that's what it is, and that works. I mean, that scares people, but so people will drop it. But now there's just a lot of back and forth in the courts about, is this just regular marketing? Is this just a business practice? Can we really regulate it? And it's gonna, there's no fine line yet, but I will say that it's worth defending. And domain disputes, we have mechanisms to take down domains that are copyright that other people own. So there is that option too. And it can get costly, but it's worth it for many people, especially if you're spending money on advertising.
And I think some people got the misconception that I think it costs a lot less. It's sort of like that commercial, you can pay me now or you can pay me later to fix my engine. Put the oil in now or pay me for a rebuilt engine. It's really not that expensive to get a trademark. What? Not holding you to it because you might have to go up first year, but like right now, what would you charge somebody to do a trademark?
You're about $1,500 to do a trademark.
See, that's nothing.
Yeah,
that's nothing.
No.
That's and the copyright, I would think would be probably less money.
Yeah, you're a couple $100 at most for copyright. And, what do they say? Like, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. And that is exactly this area. That is really what it's all about.
So I wanted to get this and make sure, is there anything else out there lawyers should know or be doing or be thinking about when it comes to copyright, trademark things about their law firm?
Yeah, I know it's pretty common to hire blog writers and people to write copy on your site, and then you want to protect that. So I always advise people make sure you have the rights to whatever they write. And this gets kind of sticky because people will have independent contractors sign assignment agreements or things like that. But that's actually not always correct. An assignment is meant for an employee. And this comes up a lot. So whatever you have in those independent contractor agreements, just make sure it's clear and it's correct. So you have the rights to take that language and go copyright it.
So you've been out, you worked in the big corporate world. So how long have you had your private practice in St. Louis?
About 3 years.
Okay. So what has been your biggest, what has been your biggest challenge?
I will say what my dad always tells me, it's easy to be busy and not make money. So I have found myself in that I am very busy and then where's the money, right? So I would say that has been kind of the boundary I've held myself to, and kind of overcoming that. I got a handle on it now, but when you first start, you find yourself so busy and then you're just, where's the revenue? So that's been a great thing to learn.
Okay. So I also wanted to ask you, have you found, because, I'm married to a lawyer, and she always tells me that, she always felt like she had to work harder, or when she had her own adoption agent. She was an solo adoption lawyer. And she always felt like she had to do more than the men just to prove that she was as good, if not better. I mean, do you feel that way, or do you think things have changed now to where it really doesn't matter? Or do you think it's still a man's world?
I will say that I left corporate because I think it was a man's world. So being on my own, I feel like there's a lot more even playing field, which is why I encourage a lot of women attorneys to go on your own. But yeah, I would agree with that. There's a lot of hurdles that men typically don't have to face. So
yeah, it's funny. I never, it didn't bother me. I mean, I was the first PI lawyer in North Carolina to have a woman partner. I was the first lawyer in my county to hire. You got to understand, I was in North Carolina, and it was pretty racist, to be honest with you, back 30 years ago, and probably still is today, but definitely was 30 years ago. And I was the first one to hire an African-American. And my God, you would have thought that I had hired a Martian. It's just so backward thinking. I always felt like women in particular worked harder to try to prove their worth. When I had my law firm, I had 13 lawyers, 6 of them were women, 7 of them were men. And I was the 7th one. So it really 6-6 because I won't practice it. So really we had it even. I didn't care. I wanted somebody that had the, that was going to fit in our culture, that was hungry, that was not arrogant, but confident, they could get along well with others, play with others well, and were hungry, not just for money, but to advance, and really had compassion and empathy. That was the other thing I really would look for, because when you do PI work, a lot of people are hurt, they're down on their luck, things are not good. So what's the best business advice you've ever been given?
Work on your business, not in your business. It is key. I mean, like I said, I come from a family of business owners, and I've seen both sides, and working on it is way more rewarding. So I highly advise stepping into that role.
Yeah, and I can confirm that. I made more money when I got out of cases and just really focused on growing the business and managing and trying to coach other people up. There's this thing called the law lid. People underneath you are not going to get any higher than you are. You're the lid. You're the jar. You're the top. So you got to keep getting better yourself, and you got to pull these people up with you. So yeah, I agree. And for people that don't know, if you've never read Michael Gerber's E-Myth or E-Myth Revisited, I'm sure you've read it.
Yep, and reread it, because it applies differently at different stages.
Absolutely. Because that is what I preach, Courtney, and it's the truth. It's the truth. It's just hard to do sometimes. It's hard to let go, and then sometimes you can't believe you can afford to do it, or you think nobody can do it as good as you, and that might be true, but you got to take it to that. You're going to get things done. You got to do it that way. So let me ask you this. How can you help lawyers who are listening to the show right now? What could you?
Yeah, reach out to me for a trademark or copyright consultation. Do not try to do it yourself. The trademark law is so nuanced and there's a lot of deadlines. And if you're not familiar with it, it can really trip you up and you could trigger your competitors to take your trademark. I'm simplifying that process, but it's just really important you work with someone who knows the process because you don't want to miss deadlines. You can really, put yourself in a hole.
And you can do this. They don't have to be from St. Louis or Missouri. You can do it. It's sort of like it's federal law. You can do it from
Yes.
You can do it from California, New York, Maine.
Yeah, exactly. I have clients across the United States and even abroad. So yeah, it's a federal practice.
Yeah. Okay. So if listeners want to learn more or want to just get a consultation, just to ask you some questions, how's the best way to reach you, Courtney?
Yeah, you can email our office at hello@CEnglishLaw.com. And we're also trying to increase our Instagram game next year. So we're on Instagram at Upscale Law. So you're happy to follow along there.
Upscale Law. I got to watch that. Okay, good deal. I just came back from speaking at the CEO Lawyer Summit with Ali Awad, who is just killing it in Atlanta with Instagram and Facebook. It's unbelievable. I would tell anybody, go out there and watch him, go to his Instagram page, see what he's doing. He's signing up 150 cases a month, doing nothing but social media. Now, he's spending a lot of money, but he's still getting a lot of cases. And Mo DeWitt, DeWitt down in Florida, does it a little different ways, but he's really growing his practice too. Just a sidelight. That's where it's going. That's where it's at. That's where it's going to. There are people like you, Courtney. You need to take advantage of it. That's what the younger generation. I mean, that's the people. That's what they're looking at. They're not looking at TV anymore. They're looking at all this other stuff. They're looking at their phone. They're looking at streaming. And people just. It's not what it was when I started. It was Yellow Pages and TV. That was it. It's a whole different, brave world now. It really is. And you got to change with the times.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah. Well, listen, thank you so much. I know this has kind of been short, but the deal is you've accomplished what I wanted to accomplish, is that these lawyers out here that are spending millions of dollars or hundreds of thousands of dollars need to protect your investment. Okay. And we're giving you, and Courtney has agreed to do a free consultation. And you've heard it's just not that expensive, even if you want to get it done. So, that would be on my to-do list. First thing for 2022 is to make sure all my stuff is protected, that I'm copywriting my website every 6 months or more, and that I'm trademarking my name, any kind of lead magnets, any kind of landing pages. I want to protect all that stuff. It will pay off. Because what I've found with PILMA lawyers, they get more and more successful as we grow their firms, and people start shooting for them. That's just the way it is. The bigger you get, more people go after you. Trying to copycat. I've lived it. I know what it's about. But that's what they say: flattery, imitation, greatest form of flattery. Well, not when I'm spending millions of dollars. No, it don't flatter me a damn bit. It really doesn't.
Yeah,
it really doesn't. It really doesn't. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much, Courtney, and thank you for enlightening us. Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. Until next time, this is Ken Hardison, dedicated to your success.
You have been listening to the Grow Your Law Firm podcast, the podcast that leads lawyers to more growth, profit, and freedom. Go to growyourlawfirm.com to find more ways to market and manage your law firm. Please leave us a rating and review wherever you listen to your podcasts.